Dear brothers and sisters, just a few minutes ago, we had an experience, a blackout, a breakdown, power cut. Now replay that moment in your mind. What did you feel? You felt lost. Everything was going on smoothly. The choir was singing, the organist playing, and the little Ariana was beautifully singing, and suddenly there was no power. This can also be an experience of faith. In our journey of life, we have to face such moments: absence of light, absence of power, absence of God. In our first reading today, taken from the book of Habakkuk, he asked the Lord, "Lord, how long shall I cry for help, and you will not hear me?" The absence of God. I keep praying and cry to God, but the answer God gives seems to be silence. Just like a power cut, just like a blackout. In our journey of faith, we have to endure the absence of God. That is also one of the aspects of growing as a disciple of Jesus. For the last so many Sundays, we saw how Jesus was speaking to Pharisees, disciples, and today he speaks to the apostles. Different aspects of faith: humility, charity, brotherly love, pride. And today he speaks of faith. Faith, especially when we feel the absence of God. Because that sense of absence of God is the crucible where faith is forged and refined. And that is also something that we have to learn in life. Let me share a poem written by the famous Lebanese poet Khalil Gibran. The title of that poem is "River Cannot Go Back." Gibran says, "It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled. From the peaks of the mountains, the long winding roads crossing forest and villages." It's a very beautiful path the river takes. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean because only then will fear disappear. Because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but becoming the ocean. Fear is the greatest enemy of our faith. All of us have this struggle with faith. Fear to give up. Sometimes we feel we can go back, but we are helpless. We cannot go back. We cannot undo what has happened. All of us, irrespective of our age, we experience at every stage of our life and trembles with this fear. A teenager will struggle with his identity. What is my place? What am I going to become? A person going through a midlife crisis, all of us. Sometimes we regret the choices that we have made in life. Once a woman was wearing the wedding ring on the wrong finger. So her friend pointed that out. Hey, you're wearing the finger in the wrong finger. The ring in the wrong finger. And she said, no, it's just because I married the wrong man. Sometimes you feel like that. You have made a wrong choice with regard to your career, profession, life partner, and you regret that. But you cannot undo that. As an elder, you may feel that the things gave you identity is taken away one by one. Your health, your relationship, the children, property, your sight, little by little slipping away. Or a natural disaster can strike at any given moment and you lose things overnight. A financial crisis, inflation, recession. It can happen at any time. A sickness, a disease can turn your world upside down overnight. And how do you face these situations? Like the river, you need to move forward and fall, abandon yourself to that mighty ocean called life. As we move forward, in front of us there are two doors. Since we cannot go back, we have to make a choice. On one side there is the door of disappointment, despair. The other side, the door of faith. It's always better to choose the door of faith. The attitude with which the river falls into the sea makes a big difference. She can tremble with fear because she is losing her identity. And then when she falls because she cannot go back, she realizes it's not about losing, disappearing, but becoming one with the ocean. So in life it's not about disappearing, giving up, but abandoning yourself to the mighty ocean called this will of God. The disciples, the apostles had to learn that as they walked with Jesus. Maybe they have seen all the wonders that Jesus did. They knew that one day that they will have to take up this mission and carry it out. But they struggled with their lack of faith. And so they asked the Lord, Lord, increase our faith. The faith is not something that you can order on Daras. Last night, just for fun, I typed faith on Daras. I got some crosses. You can try that too. You cannot order online faith. Faith is a gift. So when the disciples asked to increase our faith, the Lord does not speak about the quantity, the amount of faith, but He speaks about the quality of faith. Of course, all of us have some amount of faith, and that is why you are here this Sunday morning. We pray. But there is still something we can learn. Like the man who one day fell off the mountain cliff. It's a famous story. He fell from this mountain cliff, and as he was coming down, he managed to grab the branch of a tree. And now he found himself hanging between heaven and earth. It was dark. He cannot climb back, and he cannot let go. The only thing he knew was to pray. And he started praying, Lord, are you there? Is there anyone? Are you there? And from the darkness he heard this voice. Yes, I am here. Man was so confused and asked, who are you? And the voice said, well, you pray to me, I am the Lord your God. Do you want me to save you? Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Do you believe me? Yes, Lord, I do believe in you. Then let go. Let go of the branch that you're holding on. Man started shouting all the more, is there anyone outside there? And he kept hanging whole night. When morning came, he found himself just hanging about few feet above the ground. You and I may laugh, dear friends, because we can identify ourselves with this man. We believe in God. Yes, Lord, I believe in you. Do we pray to God? Yes, we believe. But when it comes to carrying out the will of God, the abandoning ourselves completely to the will of God, there is something that we have to learn. Just like the disciples, we need to say to the Lord, increase our faith. Are you satisfied with your faith? If you say, yes, I'm okay. Well, I do my Sunday obligation, I pray, and I'm a Christian. Still, there is room for growth. And this growth comes especially when we feel that God has abandoned you. When you begin to lose things. When you allow yourself to be merged with that ocean, the will of God, you will realize that God has a bigger, better purpose in life. If ever you have a little faith, don't expect miracles like uprooting trees and planting in the ocean. Don't ever try that. It will not happen. But the Lord asks us to remove the uproot, that greatest obstacle to faith, our fear of letting go and accepting God's will in our life. If ever God has given you a tiny little faith in your life like a mustard seed, it has to be at the service of the other. And that the Lord also gives as an extra teaching to the disciples. That's a bonus for their request. When he says, what man among you has a servant? Maybe he had only one servant, and he had to do all the plowing and looking after sheep. After a long, hard day, he comes home, and you tell that man, now come and prepare supper for me, and I will eat, and after that you can eat. It does not encourage us to become ungrateful people, insensitive people towards our workers, but it invites us to look at you from the point of view of the servant. The little faith that was given to you to be at the service of the master. Without complaining, without grumbling, you give an unconditional service to your Lord. And then we do not deserve anything. We do not deserve anything because we become one with the master, like the river. We realize that it's our fear disappears not by simply disappearing into the ocean, but when we disappear, we need to realize we are not losing our identity, but we get a new identity. We become one with the ocean.